Except that he was.
So it wasn't even the claim that he came out and was like, hey, I did it.
Or the end of the story isn't what we think it is. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Justin, and we're back with another episode of Frieren. But before that, we have a couple of comments to go through. First up, we got Kelvin Cawthorn from Patreon, episode Like a Fairy Tale. Himmel's face did change when he heard that Frieren remembers Flamme's face. He went from, sorry, I don't know how to read out an emoji. He went from to his mouth opened a bit, so from how I perceive that, it was new knowledge to him. It's quick, but it's there, at 45-ish seconds into the episode.
I love the fact that a reaction was caught, and I think it could have been a response because it seems like Frieren doesn't pay attention to a lot of stuff. So the fact that she is that has that level of connection to the world would probably be mind-blowing.
I think we commented on it because it happens like in a flash second in like the back corner of the screen. Like I think somebody is in center frame, and then Himmel is like right behind, and his mouth is what you can see because it like cuts off the top of his head. All right. Next up, another one from Kelvin Cawthorn from Patreon, a powerful mage. Frieren being a typical internet troll, kill yourself noob. I don't know how you typically say the KYS thing. I know it stands for that. People don't typically say it though due to censorship. I like how there's a fundamental difference in thinking between humans and demons. The fact that demons don't have any sort of capacity for empathy or connection with others of their kind means that appearing weak by suppressing their mana, which is how they gauge strength, will just invite other demons to attack them to get stronger themselves. That is a given fact of life for them, and because of such, they don't even consider hiding their mana for a long period of time. It's a completely foreign concept to them. I think my favorite part of this episode is the long con reveal. Flamme had to have known that demons can sense the tiny fluctuations in mana that comes with suppressing it, and the only way to avoid that is literal lifelong training and constant mana suppression. She found a supposedly young elf with talent and trained her to be a demon-killing machine, and told her, "You won't leave your name in history until you defeat the Demon King." For 900 years, Frieren just spent her time training and traveling alone, eventually settling down somewhere. All that time suppressing her mana and waiting for her time to shine by way of Himmel and Co. Aura had no clue what was coming. She thought she was up against some upstart elf mage who made a name for herself 80 years ago, who can't be more than a few hundred years old at most, right? Right?
Oh yeah, no. Pure con, and the moment that it actually hit, she was like, oh yeah.
Well, I believe I said it during the episode, and if I didn't, well, I'm saying it now. It's the prestige.
Yep.
The whole concept that a magician has to live their life as their performance to fully make people embrace the thing going on. I think the example in the movie is the old Chinese magician who walks with a hunch and everything like that his entire life because he's actually holding like this globe under his chest. So he's actually holding this massive weight. He's not really hunched. He just has to walk that way all the time so that during his act he can hide this thing that needs to be revealed. Anyway, last comment here is Gimizu from Patreon, a powerful mage. Just a small just as a small information, the manga the show is based on is still ongoing, so there is no ending yet. The first season of the anime adapts chapter 1 through 60 of the manga, with the latest released chapter in Japan being 125. So Justin's prediction that the show might end one day with Frieren's funeral might actually come true, but we will see. Tongue sticking out emoji. Well, there you go, actually. I guess that's actually a massive spoiler if you think about it. If you think about it,
I'm fine. I'm fine with it though.
I'm saying because you've been proposing that this show will end with Frieren's death. It's
Hmm.
been something you've been going with this entire time. So it's
The entire time.
literally a comment that I guess I maybe should have filtered out. Literally states, "No, you're wrong. That's not how the show ends."
Hey, you know what? I'm fine with that. I'll come up with a new crazy theory. It's all good.
Well, those have been the comments. Why don't you recap us on what happened last time?
Last time we traveled through the Northlands in the winter and had to stop at a mountain-based cabin because of one, weather conditions. Number two, our warrior was probably going to die of hypothermia if they stayed out in the cold. They ran into a monk named Kraft, who they assisted them in surviving the harsh winter, getting food, and it was just a nice little bit of exposition. Talked a little bit about religion, and got back to some good flashback moments of just understanding and care. And now we continue our journey without the monk Craft.
Who appeared to be heading off in the opposite direction. Well, I don't even know opposite direction. He just obviously wasn't heading in the same direction as them because obviously they think they would have been the type to travel together. Also, I don't know if this is something you feel weird about, but I am socially awkward enough that if I'm heading in the same direction as somebody I was already having a conversation with, and then like we gave our goodbyes, and then suddenly I realize that they've walked off ahead of me in the same direction I'm going, that one, I'm a fast walker. So if I'm already behind you, I have the awkward thing of, oh, I'm gonna have to pass you by, and we were already talking. You know, do I just go in the same direction and then leave you behind, or
I think it depends on the person.
well, because
Like,
there's also yeah, it is situational too. Like the whole, well, if I'm walking, I think the last time, look, I don't go out much anymore. I pointed this out, so I can like literally list the instances of this in the last year
yep,
on like one hand. Like I was walking to a hospital early in the morning, and literally there's only one other person on the street, and it's this woman walking ahead of me, and I need to get to the hospital fast because it's a timed appointment sort of scenario, right? So I'm speed walking my way there. I'm speed walking up to a woman's back in like early morning when no one's around. It does not have a great appearance, right? In this day and age, I know not everybody is like
of
suspecting
course.
of everyone around them, but you know, you're a woman walking out by yourself in the wee hours of the morning, and here comes this tall guy speed walking apparently towards you for all you know.
Mhm.
But then that's what I do. I put myself in the mind of what's the worst thing this person could think about me as I'm approaching.
I just kind of go about my business and don't worry about it.
Of course you do. Of course you
Yeah.
do. I live in other people's minds. If I was a psychic, it would be the worst case scenario for me.
Yeah, no. Um, the phrase I will say for that is "f that noise," because I don't got to worry about other people's minds.
I
Take
feel
people into consideration, but I'm not. No.
I feel like my life is so dependent on others that that is just a survival instinct that's been baked into me that I have to worry
It's
about
very
what other
possible.
people think because if they think poorly, then my life can be affected poorly. I'm not talking about, in that instance, I'm not talking about strangers. I'm
Hmm.
talking about, well, I am talking about strangers, but like,
Yep.
if you have a meeting with like, say, some governmental authority figure, like, like when I've been on unemployment before in the past, right? Like, jobs let
Yep.
out. I put like 100 applications in, and everyone around me within like an 8 mile radius, and no one's hiring. And it's like, well, I need some help here. I didn't get fired for any part of them. Surprising number of jobs I've worked at have just closed, right? I didn't get fired. The business collapsed. So
Yep.
that sort of thing. And a lot of times when you're talking to like somebody at like unemployment or whatever, it's just whatever they fucking think. If they feel like you're just not that great, they can just cut you off. So a lot of times you've got to worry about what people think about you if it really is a situation where your life might depend on it.
So there's a difference between taking other people into account. So in situations like that, absolutely, that's where you have to be presentable. You have to speak a certain way and all that. That's fine. But that's when it matters.
You never know.
N-
You never know. Literally, one of the people I had to talk to at unemployment once was a former boss of mine. And if I treated them like, a lot of, it's like, fuck your boss, that sort of thing, I might have been in a horrible place, but literally, I was in trouble at the Not, I keep on to say DMV. All government authority is DMV in my head. I was in trouble there because I had misdone some forms or something, and
yeah,
I got taken back, and I had to talk to somebody. And when I sat down, my former boss, who I treated respectfully every fucking day that I knew them, like I did everything they asked. I treated them like a fucking person, and they were just
yeah,
happy to see me, and they were sad that I was in a bad position, respected that I had done the best, and sent me on my way with a little extra time. So it's just like, you never know. That woman I was talking about at the very beginning, who I might have spin
yeah,
walked up to, who might have freaked out, because I mean I don't maybe might not appear on camera, but I'm a pretty huge dude, like size and width. I mean, someone
yeah.
charging their way up at you like in the dark might freak you out, and then it could happen that I show up at the hospital later and she's a fucking nurse, and suddenly word spread to the hospital not to deal with that guy. He's a pervert creep who's charging up on women on the streets, right? Anything, anybody you meet could be important
Oh,
at one day.
oh, I'm not saying don't be respectful or don't or like treat people. I'm just not in your head. I'm a respectful person because that's the way you should
Well, yeah,
be.
no, no, no. I'm not even on the respectful train anymore. There's just so many ways normal everyday things can be taken the wrong way by anybody, and then everybody talks to everybody, so that misunderstanding suddenly gets blown up in somebody else's memory of somebody who told them something. There is
I've got
a
I've,
whole
I've got I've got too much stuff going on to get in to let my head get into that.
I
That's
don't.
not that's not worth that's not worth my brain space. That's just going to drive you crazy.
What were we talking about before? I didn't realize we have gone on for what, 5 minutes now about this. What were we talking about before when we got
One
into this?
million percent we have. We just did the recap of the episode.
Craft going in the opposite direction. That's where it was.
Yep.
I do not know how if we got to this little breakdown of me freaking out about social interactions and you just being a cool guy, but I don't know where we went. Anyway, I think that's enough. I think we can go ahead and get into the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Let's do it.
This little insight into us. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. But before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra.
And now we're back directly into the opening song.
I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me is like a fairy tale is the first lyric, and it's also the name of one of the episodes.
Yeah.
I think I've also brought that up before, that the lyric is memories of a short journey with the hero defeated it, and that's the one person that they bring up in the opening song, the hero. It doesn't
Ah,
mention Heiter or Eisen.
you're not wrong whatsoever.
Also odd that they mentioned that
I
he
think
goes to sleep and not die.
Eisen's legacy, I think, is going to be Stark.
Well, that, yeah, he's literally the kid that Eisen trained. Same way that
But I think it's going to
Heiter's
be.
legacy is Fern. Did it
I
again.
think it's going to be more of like a vocal fact versus the other example.
Huh. Kraft was in the opening. Was he always in the opening?
I could not tell you.
Kraft was in the opening, and plus a guy with reddish hair wearing a white cape with a sword charging forwards. I don't know. He was also in that same area as Kraft in the opening. I can't remember who he always was. I don't think it was Stark. Stark uses an axe.
It's true.
That might be our real hero.
Well,
Literally, white
a
cape
white
was in the
cape was
thing.
mentioned.
A year. It's been a year. Time's changed.
It's yep.
Sorry, you said oh, and your internet did the whole breakup thing, so it was like it was like a giant
You hit
horde.
exactly what I was gonna say.
寝てしまいました。
仕方ない。俺が背負うよ。
けどシュタルク様、斧が。
ああ。けどほら、手は空いてるし。うん。うん。
You know I can float her the same way I floated you, right?
私が背負います。
なんで？
何でもです。
Probably because of the grabby motions you're making with your hands every time you do that.
That's funny.
A dream sequence would be pretty good for a flashback episode, like I said before.
ケチだよね。
True.
5 copper coins, that's what they said in the past.
魔王の討伐に失敗してきたのですから。
まあ、地道に討伐依頼をこなしてロギンを稼ぐのもいいじゃないか。冒険らしい。
そうですね。
ねえ、その剣、勇者の剣だ。
レプリカですよ。
昔村に来た行商人を守
I love it. It's a replica.
お礼でもらった
Well, no, that implies something.
未来の勇者にってね。
The hero's sword, which means there was a the hero before
Yep.
Himmel.
いや村の孤児院にハイターってムカつくやつがいてね。
If this is a flashback episode, it could be Himmel getting his actual sword.
Well, no, I mean, I want to know who the real hero was. Who's the hero? Is it a Zelda thing? Well, I mean, like, I can't remember the Master Sword. What's the story of the Master Sword? Because it's the Master Sword before Zelda gets it.
It's true. I also like the idea of him using a replica sword, but it becomes the hero sword because he uses it.
フリーレン様、ようやく目を覚ましましたね。この光景、既視感がある。まだ夢の中だね。
だといいんだけどな。
山の天気を甘く見すぎた。このまま北に進んで目的地の集落がある。わかりました。フリーレン様、自力で歩けますか？無理。そうですか。
I don't think they said where Himmel's village is, but I don't think we're gonna ever go there.
運びっぱなしで疲れただろう。フェルン、変わるぜ。うん。
I think it's more of the thing you keep doing.
なんでだよ。
吹雪もだいぶ落ち着いてきたね。
Well, this
There's
village did not
something
survive.
more to this perv thing.
本当にこんな 山奥に集落があるんだな。
Oh, I said that, and it's only the outer building.
お待ちしておりました。
あ
フリーレン様。君が今の佐藤さん、若いね。はい、49代目です。世襲なもので。ようこそ。
So are you cold? What's going on here?
I think she's trying to get. I think she was getting up on her toes to try and get face to face.
山の主の仕業です。主、この山にそんなのいたっけ？
ここが剣の里か。
知っているのですか、シュタルク様。
勇者の剣を守っていた里だ。この里の近くの聖域には女神様が授けたとされる。
Some old guy came out and told Himmel that,
その件は歴史上
God damn it, I've forgotten the Zelda quote. It's dangerous out there. Take this. Something, you know what I'm trying to do here.
Oh, okay. I think I have a prediction of what's gonna happen with this sword in the stone, because literally just said sword. It's in a stone.
Yeah, well, they also just said the whole sword and stone thing too. So
Yep. I think Himmel went to go grab it, couldn't do it, and came out and said, "Hey, look, I got the sword." And Stark is actually going to switch to a sword, and he's actually gonna get it.
I don't know. I think what I was implying by the opening sequence was that we're gonna get another member of the party here.
They very well could. They very well
like
could.
we said, Fern is a Heiter replacement. Stark is a Eisen replacement. And we need a Himmel replacement, which would be a hero.
I think Fern is the Himmel replacement.
No.
I think they're reconfiguring who is in what role. I think she will go down as the hero.
I might agree with you if you said that Fern was the Frieren replacement, but I'm not going to go with a Himmel replacement.
I don't think there's gonna be a Frieren replacement. I think Frieren is gonna be the constant.
No, I mean that Fern is literally learning everything from Frieren. Like, in the dual Aura versus Ligner fights, they were both doing the same thing. Same roles.
Yep.
しかし本当に魔物が多いな。あの洞窟の前に集まっているな。
See, not even afraid.
Because Stark is giving more and more combination of hero and warrior.
I think that's just being disingenuous to Eisen.
Oh, no disrespect to Eisen whatsoever. Eisen's dope.
No, I mean that Eisen is also a warrior in a hero's party, which makes him optionally a hero as well. I think Stark is just fulfilling that role of additional fighter.
I see what you're saying.
Whereas I think in this role or realm, hero is like face, you know?
I see what you're saying.
Also, come on, Stark, you killed a dragon.
フリーレン、こいつはどういうことだ？あれは勇者の剣だ。
魔物が集まっていたのはこいつのせいだよ。聖域は強力な結界で入れないのに、魔物はそれを破壊する衝動を抑えられない。よっぽど勇者の剣が怖いんだろうね。
そういうことじゃなくて。
そうだね。
But that's all rusty?
ヒンメルはこの剣を抜けなかったんだ。今回の勇者も本物ではありませんでしたか？
Except that he was.
いいじゃないか。
So it wasn't even the claim that he
Or-
came out and was like, "Hey, I did it."
Or the end of the story isn't what we think it is.
そうすれば偽物だろうが本物だろうが関係ない。
そしてヒンメルは成し遂げた。
Remember, I think, what was the story about the person who pulls the sword? That they'll defeat the Demon King or something?
I think so.
What if he didn't? What if they talked him down, or I'm right about Frieren being the Demon King after all, or, you know, something stupid and weird, or not stupid, something off kilter.
Yeah.
That maybe the Demon King was actually a child, and he refused to kill the child or something.
Ah.
I mean, there's lots of ways that a true hero could not fulfill prophecy. A true hero wouldn't kill baby Hitler, right?
True. All I'm saying, red hair and then the white cape could be a
That
gift.
dude. Did you see him? It was literally half a second. Yeah, that's the dude from the opening.
What? It was in flashback.
I don't know what context the opening bit is from.
じゃあまた半世紀後に。
I'll be an old woman by then. You'll literally have met this girl as a child and then an old lady. It'll be the flower woman all over again.
じゃあ宿に荷
Yeah.
物置いたら夜まで自由行動ね。
久々の街だな。羽を伸ばせるぜ。
フリーレン様どうします？
That sword's gotta come back into play.
私はいいや。宿でゆっくり
Oh, I imagine Stark is going to go back for it.
じゃあ私一人で。
Yeah, because they're free to do whatever they want.
今日はシュタルクの18歳の誕生日だから。
Oh, it's his birthday, though.
なんでそういうこと事前に教えてくれないんですか？私何も準備していませんよ。この町で何か買えばいいじゃん。シュタルク様の欲しいものがわかりません。フェルンは爪が甘いね。フリーレン様
She might not buy something. She might go back for that sword. And then he has to follow.
I feel like you're saying this only because you think Fern is the hero.
とっておきだよ。
No, I'm saying it because it seems like a good way to get him to the sword.
男ってのはね、こういうの渡しておけば喜ぶんだよ。って先生が言って。
This thing that we mentioned in the first episode. Or one of the early ones.
Yep.
何？
Well, here's hoping I remember, because that was clearly a thumbnail image.
この下品な薬、買った時に私、返品しろって言いましたよね。
Told you to return this vulgar potion when you bought it.
この薬、貴重だったのに。プレゼン
He's like, I spent money on that.
Well, thank God she seems to have at least 1 second outfit.
Oh no, that's not the second outfit. That's the bed sheet.
No, in the
Oh.
suitcase. So yeah, the thing hanging off right
Yeah.
there.
があったか。やっぱ直接探りを入れるしかないか。絶対バレるだろうけど。シュタルク様。
Already run off.
出かけているの
So why'd you rent out a room to him with 2 beds? At least one guy.
おのお世話の戦士様か荷車を押すのを手伝ってくれてね。確か広場の方へ向かって行ったよ。
ついさっきまで俺たちと遊んでたぜ。
Ah, you're gonna be right.
木から降りれなくなっていたところ
He's literally doing all the hero stuff.
Yeah. He stopped a rampaging cow. Hell yeah.
フリーレン様はさすがに失礼です。シュタルク様があんなエッチな薬をもらって喜ぶようなはずが。
I don't know, it is his 18th birthday. He might still.
I was gonna say, might be the perfect thing for his 18th birthday.
シュタルク様。
Yep. Well, that's right where my eyes went to.
It absolutely.
All respect gone in an instant.
Yeah.
リアクションに困るよ。シュタルク様。
フェルン、ちょうどいいところにあの雲さ。すみません、なんでもないです。
At least he had the self-awareness to go. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
ねえ、なんで怒ってんの？俺なんかした？
どう切り出そうかな。
謝るからさ。
Let me just buy something to eat and eat it with him. That's all he wanted before. Remember the whole ice cream thing where he wanted to have ice cream with her?
なんで？
今日がシュタルク様の誕生日だからです。
そうだっけ？それと欲しいものに何の関係があるんだ？
シュタルク様の誕生日プレゼントです。
え？何かくれんの？
やっぱりなんかムカつくからあげない。
いや、ふざけて。
Doesn't make sense that he doesn't know how birthdays work. If you remember, he's ran away from his village when it was being attacked, so he's like the only survivor there, and then who the hell knows what Ison did about birthdays.
死んだ故郷の家族からも師匠からももらったことがないから、そういうもんなのかと思って。
Be weirder if you did get ones from your dead family.
故郷の家族からもそういった風習だったのですか？
いや、単に俺が大事にされていなかったんだろうな。
Oh, that's rough.
弱いやつの居場所なんかなかった。
Ironic how they all died to an attack then, isn't it? That's the dude, isn't it? It's gotta be the dude from the opening clip.
From his... So that's someone from his village.
Which would also imply that he survived and nobody else did. If he's alive.
I think it's his older brother.
毎日あれだけ修行しているというのに、まだ一度も魔物とまともに戦えていない。降ってきやがった。帰るぞ。
具体に稽古をつけてくる。
あまりいじめてやるなよ。俺は先に帰る。時間の無駄だ。
So it implies that Stark ran away and everyone but his older brother survived. And possibly.
I still think his brother died.
Could be.
I think his brother's death is the he ran away.
Then why is he in the opening? And you can point out, sure, Himmel, Heiter, and Himmel and Heiter are in the opening too, but real melancholy music though. Well, I guess here's where we find out.
故郷が魔族に襲われた時、そんな兄貴も見捨てて逃げちまった。
So he wouldn't know.
家族から祝ってもらえなくて当然かもな。俺は逃げてばかりの失敗作だ。ヒンメルだったらきっと。
I guess technically his entire village might still be alive. They could have just moved.
シュタルク様。
If the whole village got destroyed, if the whole village got destroyed, and they're all a warrior village, right, of the strongest people ever, they might have just fucking moved. Remember, this show goes back and forth between being very serious and very jokey. What's more jokey than the kid just didn't know, like a Home Alone situation, right? I went to bed and wished everyone would just disappear, and I woke up and they were all gone.
No, too much. Oh, they're showing the hands.
Oh no, he got a bangle. She bought him a bangle. That's...
Yeah.
They weren't holding hands. You just saw the bangle he was wearing.
I know they weren't holding hands. They were showing the hands in a position where they were close enough to hold.
I'll take hamburgers for my birthday.
シュタルク、アイゼンから聞いてないの？
何が？
戦士ってのは不器用だね。フリーレン様がそれを言うんですか？そうだね。私も不器用だからわかる。バカだよね。思いっていうのは言葉にしないと伝わらないのに。これはね。
I honestly can't tell what that was. I thought it was a quiche at first, but then it looked like a pie, and then is that a burnt pizza? I can't freaking tell.
It's basically a hamburger.
I think hamburger require. Well,
でもアイゼン
never mind.
僕たちは戦士じゃないぞ。
頑張った者は皆戦士だ。
そうなの？
どうでしょうね。
I could tell because the way they tried to put texture to show it wasn't one solid piece.
何作ってんだ？
ハンバーグ。誕生日だろ。親父たちには内緒だぜ。逃げろ、シュタルク。お前は生きるんだ。
See? His brother told him to run.
I mean, that has nothing to do with him being alive or not. Not unless he has a memory of seeing his brother die here.
I mean, yeah, unless
I mean,
we get shown the body.
I appreciate that we're getting this, though.
Yeah.
That he didn't run because he was a coward. He ran because of his brother.
アイゼンからレシピをもらったんだよね。どう？美味しい？
And Ison wasn't heartless either.
No? I understand why Aizen treated him the way that he did.
まだ少し残っているから。また頭からかけますよ、フリーレン様。
ああ、何それ？
シュタルク様には関係ありません。貴重な薬だよ。
え、どういう？
エッチ。
なんで
No, so what Aizen was doing was
No, my point was that it seemed like at the beginning of the episode, Ison was not celebrating birthdays and wasn't telling him anything, versus knowing what his brother was had given him in the past and the whole hard work thing. And then he said, I'm working on this thing for you. No, that's what I meant to imply, is that Aizen wasn't heartless, which is what you want to take away from the beginning of the episode, where it seemed like Aizen didn't celebrate birthdays, didn't even tell him about when he was born, etc.
It seems like Aizen doesn't care about birthdays.
Well, it seems like he didn't tell him why he was cooking him a special meal every year, once every
Got it.
because he knew that Ison was giving him that. Also, Ison gave her the recipe, which then means that Ison recognized both this is your birthday meal and here's how to make it to Frieren. But my implication is that he said, oh, today's my birthday? I didn't know. So it just implies that Ison didn't tell him why he was doing this, which might imply that he might have just figured that he knew. But it just comes across as mostly heartless from Ison's perspective until you have all the facts in mind. That's why if I didn't explain why I said, oh, Ison wasn't heartless, it's because I was putting all of that together from the beginning and then the realization at the very end of the final facts.
Actually, on that topic specifically, I think the reason Aizen did a little heartless, I'll jump on it in 1 second.
The name of the episode does not fit in with any of the text that I actually read.
I didn't see what the name was because the text was so off the wall.
Well, it seems like Himmel has gotten himself into a mix-up, and it seems like everyone's accusing him of being a pervert of some form or fashion. Except for the one which is talking about alcohol, which just makes me think of Hyder. But yeah, and then it goes aversion to one's own kind, which I have no idea.
Yeah.
Unless maybe it's indicating that Himmel is not attracted to humans. Because we know Himmel has a thing for Frieren, so obviously...
Yes.
It's either that or Frieren doesn't like elves, is the implication there. But I don't think we really
So
got anything
I more
adequately from the
thought
craft
Frieren doesn't
encounter.
like elves.
Well, as I just said, I don't think we had anything adequate about that in the whole craft encounter. She literally had a whole conversation with him, and she seemed pleasant enough. Versus
So
how she treats.
I don't think it's a like elves in general. I think it's a not into elves.
We've already covered that too. Frieren is not interested in anybody. That was like a description we've
True.
gotten of her. I don't know. It was real early on that she's now not romantically or sexually attracted to anyone.
So it didn't say that she was. It said that elves are typically not.
No, I'm pretty sure they said she was. Because I don't think
It
we've
was about
gotten anything in general about elves at all.
no, so it was about elves in general because she was explaining why there isn't more elves, but despite how long lived they are.
Oh man, this is just another memory problem. Here's my problem.
Yeah, no,
Is that I always side with my own thoughts, which usually means
of
that
course.
you think one thing, I think another thing, and eventually there's going to be a comment that comes along. This is the only thing that's going to clear it up for me.
That's fine. That's fine. No, what I was saying about Himmel, not about Himmel, but about Eisen before in the birthdays thing. I think Eisen specifically did the couple special things, but treated a young man who thought he was a coward the way he needed to be, so he could prove to himself later that he's not. He gave him the hard lessons that seemed to be the type that would be the only impact based off of his history.
I think also the thing to remember is that Eisen left Stark afraid of Stark.
That's what I mean. So I think it's the fact of Stark went from having major motivation to train, but not having the natural talent, clearly, to then going overboard because he thought he had to make up for his past, when really he just followed the orders that were appropriate for him to live and continue his village's legacy.
I don't know about that. I mean, the legacy part. I mean, because obviously we don't know enough about the village, or at least I don't feel like we know enough about the village to have even conception of that, or if Eisen's connection therein.
Yeah, that we don't have enough information, but that's what I think is happening. That's what I think. That's why I think Stark is so strong, because he has a major superior a major confidence issue where he has to be the get better to prove he's not a coward and a failure.
I mean, we already did that with the dragon,
I
and
don't think the
maybe a
dragon
little bit
solved
with the
that though.
demon. Well, that was the whole point about fighting the dragon, is that you don't need help. And then with the demons, goes through the whole fear thing, and he goes right through it too.
So the dragon was the start of it, but you can't do one act to get there. You have to prove it that you can consistently do it. And the demon showed that he's willing to die for this. That didn't per se show the same thing. That showed his commitment, but not
I don't
the view
know.
of
A lot
himself.
of times in stories like this, one time is all you need, because we don't tend to dwell, right? The idea is
Yeah,
that if we see you accomplish a thing, we assume that you're capable of doing it. Unless this was like one of those longer shows. I know this is 28 episodes, so I'm talking like, say, your One Pieces, your Bleaches,
100%.
your Naruto, your shows that run for an extended period of time, where we can see you do a thing, realize you're bad at it, have an extended training arc, then see you do it professionally for real later on. I think this is more of a modern one season, or more of a, I'm about to say postmodern, more of Some shows these days only get 12 episodes a season. Some shows these days get 44 episodes a season. This is 28, so obviously just a little bit more. Um, where some, well, I don't know. Jujutsu Kaisen,
Well,
for
because
example, Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, the main character does get a training arc inside of a 24 episode season. So maybe. In my
well,
head, it can fall on either side of the line.
I don't think we're even going to see a training arc. I think what it's going to be is this next episode is going to be about him actually accepting that he is a strong warrior. He is grown because it's his 18th birthday.
Well, don't. When I said training arc, I'm using it as an example. I'm not saying he would get a training arc. What I meant by training arc is an extended period of episodes focusing solely on a specific thing. Like
Yes.
so shows like this, say in a more likely in a 12 episode thing, you would get they did it once, they can do it. In a I'm only using
I see what
Jujutsu
you're saying.
Kaisen as my example here. Does it once, does it badly, gets a training arc, does it again later, shows that they can do it. I'm not saying specifically that Stark would get a training arc, just that they would spend multiple episodes worrying about showing us the thing to explain why suddenly
Okay.
it's a thing. I think the fact that they dealt with the dragon first and then showed him handshaking and then getting over it later in a different battle scene was that extended period of time.
I see what you're saying.
Any other thoughts?
There's something more to this fact that Fern always calls guys.
I'm sorry,
Not even just
you
guys.
broke up there at the end. Always calls guys.
Perv.
Well, she only calls Stark perv. Unless you've got
But
a
there's
memory of somebody else being called perv.
Well, no, you are correct, but there's also, yeah, there's something to that.
Well, she thinks he's a perv because he's a perv.
I
He
think
goes gropey
I
hands
think-
and and then sees boobs in clouds and you know,
he's an 18-year-old guy,
yeah, which are perverts.
100%. But I think, but that's my final
I'm
thought.
not gonna call out Fern for calling a spade, right? Anyway, before we wrap up here today, we got another short to get into, so let's go ahead and get into that.
早々のフリーレン〇〇の魔法
This fun little bouncy ditty.
アルコールだけを抜く魔法
So the anti-hiter spell.
アルコールだけ
Oh, that spells horrible.
ノンアルコールは味がどうしても変わってしまうというぞ
試してみようか
I don't drink myself, so
味は魔法をかける前と全然変わらないな
Okay.
それなのにポワーっともしてこないね
相当な酒飲みでも気づかないぞこれは
すみません遅くなりました
ハイターの分
what if you cast it on a hiter
じゃあ
and not
He
a
wa-
drink?
So he wasn't a drunk.
No, he is a drunk, remember?
お酒を勧めてくれる
He literally, we had him walking down the path drunk and throwing up and passing out.
ではお言葉に
It's true. But what I'm saying is, when they were adventuring, he wasn't a drunk.
これお酒じゃない
Oh,
No, see?
snap.
さすが生臭坊主
Well, the implication
That's
also
fun.
would be that she wasn't casting it all the time on all those drinks either. But yeah, also the fact that
Fair
he
enough.
recognized when the booze was absent or the alcohol was absent from his booze, implying that
fun.
he's more of a drunk than you thought he was to begin with.
100%.
The dwarf didn't even
That's a-
recognize that it wasn't that it tasted different.
Yeah.
Though I
Well,
don't know if
this
dwarves
could
have
also
that
be a
stereotype.
case. You read my mind.
Any other final thoughts about this little short?
burn that spell. That spell shouldn't be there. Get rid of it.
Again, I don't drink. It just doesn't affect me at all. No, what I was going to say in the middle of the short. I try to keep my thoughts really fast and short in the shorts, since the short itself is only like a minute. I don't want to talk the whole way through it. It's like, what will happen if you cast that spell on a Hyter directly? It removes alcohol from booze, but does it remove blood alcohol? Right? Like the alcohol from your blood? I'm assuming it can't, or she can't cast it, because obviously when Hyter's like wandering down the path, all fucking drunken and throws up. It seems like if that would work, that'd be instantly casted on him then. So, although I don't even know how your body would handle instantly going from drunk to not drunk.
I'm gonna go with no, because the implication of that existing means that you can cast spells that directly affect someone's blood.
Well, yeah, you can. Remember, there's a whole demon whose whole combat sequence was about that.
But the idea that outside of demons, people are like, blood magic is kind of concerning.
Well, if there's healing magic, isn't that just blood magic?
It doesn't have to be.
Well, literally, if you're bleeding, right, you got this giant wound in your arm, and somebody casts healing, and it stitches itself up. That is literally scabbing over a wound and then healing the scab. It's just blood magic. Right? This is like your whole there is no good necromancy spells, right? It's like, well, it's all about how you use it, right? Sure, if I raise an evil army, that's bad necromancy, but some people want to talk to their loved ones, and being a medium for the dead is also necromancy. So
you're not wrong. It's all perspective.
Right, and I mean, instantly correcting somebody's hangover seems like a good use of blood magic.
Fair enough.
It's not all Avatar puppeting people stuff. See, I don't even know where you're coming at it from the blood magic thing. If you're doing like a D&D thing, or if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I have not. This is about to get some comments. The only form of Avatar I've ever watched a part of was the horrible movie. And not even knowing the base material, I went, that can't be right.
Yeah. I only saw maybe the first 10 minutes of that movie, and I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. So, I knew it already had negative reviews, and I watched the first 10 minutes, and this isn't how this is supposed to look or feel, or this is all wrong.
I saw the first 10 minutes, went, made myself food, came back for the last 10 to 5, and I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good.
All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here then. I have been Theta. This has been Justin. We have Stone-Based Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?